Imagine this for a moment. No cameras, no police, no laws. No one would ever discover what you did. Would you still choose to do the right thing? Most of us like to believe the answer is yes. We see ourselves as honest people who naturally know right from wrong. But history and everyday life suggests something far less comforting. People lie when it's convenient. They cheat when the reward feels worth the risk. They ignore suffering if it doesn't affect them personally, not because they're monsters, but because the human mind is surprisingly good at finding excuses. This uncomfortable truth fascinated the German philosopher Immanuel Kant. Nearly 250 years ago, he noticed that society was changing. Religious authority was slowly losing its influence. And for the first time, people began asking a dangerous question. If we stop believing in God, what will stop us from doing whatever we want? Kant wasn't interested in defending religion. He was interested in something much bigger. He wanted to know whether human beings could still be moral without fear of punishment or hope of reward. That question remains just as relevant today as it was in the 18th century. Kant believed something that many people still struggle to accept. Human beings are not naturally rational. We're naturally comfortable. We don't usually choose what is right. We choose what is easier. It's easier to tell a small lie than face an uncomfortable conversation. It's easier to blame someone else than admit we've made a mistake. It's easier to stay silent when something is wrong than risk becoming unpopular. Every day, we convince ourselves that our situation is different. Just this once. No one will get hurt. Everyone else does it. These aren't just excuses. They're the stories we tell ourselves to avoid responsibility. Kant believed this is why feelings alone can never be trusted as a moral guide. Our emotions change with our mood, our desires, and our circumstances. What feels acceptable today may feel shameful tomorrow. That's why he argued that a meaningful life cannot be built on impulse. It must be built on principles that remain true even when following them is difficult. Because the real test of character isn't what you do when doing the right thing is easy. It's what you choose when no one is watching. And doing the wrong thing would benefit only you. Kant believed that morality didn't have to be complicated. In fact, he thought a single question could expose almost every dishonest decision we make. Before you do anything, ask yourself, what if everyone did exactly the same thing? At first, the question sounds almost childish, but the longer you think about it, the more uncomfortable it becomes. Imagine you're tempted to lie on your resume because it gives you a better chance of getting the job. Now imagine everyone lies. A resume becomes meaningless. Trust disappears. No employer can believe what they read. The same is true when someone cheats in a relationship, steals a little from work, spreads false information online, or breaks rules simply because they think they won't get caught. Most people judge their actions by asking, "Can I get away with this?" Kant believed we should ask something far more important. What kind of world would exist if everyone behaved exactly like me? Suddenly, morality stops being about your personal situation. It becomes about the society you're helping to create. Every small decision is no longer just a private choice. It's a vote for the kind of world you believe everyone deserves to live in. Perhaps Kant's most powerful idea had nothing to do with laws or rules. It was about the way we treat other human beings. He argued that every person should be treated as an end, never merely as a means. In simple language, that means this: never treat someone as if they exist only to satisfy your needs. Think about how often this happens in modern life. Some people only call their friends when they need a favor. Others stay in relationships simply because they're afraid of being alone. Companies see employees as numbers. Social media turns people into likes, followers, and engagement. Even in love, we sometimes ask, "What can this person give me?" instead of, "Who is this person?" Kant believed this way of thinking slowly destroys our humanity. Every person you meet carries fears you've never seen, dreams you'll never fully understand, and struggles they rarely talk about. Their life matters just as much to them as yours matters to you. The moment you begin seeing people only as tools for success, comfort, attention, or pleasure, you've stopped respecting their dignity. And perhaps you've also lost something inside yourself. Because a society becomes stronger not when people learn how to use one another more efficiently, but when they remember that every human life has value beyond its usefulness. When most people hear the word freedom, they imagine a life without restrictions. They picture being able to say whatever they want, spend money however they like, or follow every impulse that crosses their mind. To many of us, freedom simply means having more choices. But Kant believed this common definition misses something essential. If you cannot control your own desires, are you really free? A person who cannot stop gambling, who reaches for their phone every few minutes, who explodes in anger over the smallest disagreement or constantly chases approval from others may feel as though they are acting freely. But in reality, they are being controlled by forces they do not govern. Their decisions are not the product of reason, but of impulse. For Kant, real freedom begins the moment reason becomes stronger than temptation. It is the ability to pause before reacting, to choose what is right instead of what is easy, and to live according to principles rather than passing emotions. The greatest prison is often invisible because it exists inside us. Until we learn to master ourselves, no amount of external freedom will ever make us truly free. If everyone decided what was right based only on personal feelings, morality would change from one person to the next and from one day to another. One person might justify lying because it protects their career. Another might excuse betrayal because it makes them happy, while someone else might believe taking advantage of others is acceptable simply because they are strong enough to do it. Without shared principles, every selfish decision can be explained away by a convincing story. This is why Kant insisted that morality cannot depend on emotion alone. Feelings are valuable, but they are unstable. They rise and fall with our moods, our fears, and our desires. Reason, however, asks a different question. It asks whether an action would still be acceptable if everyone acted in the same way. That simple shift forces us to think beyond ourselves and consider the kind of world we are helping to create. Every honest decision strengthens trust, and every dishonest one quietly weakens it. Society is not held together by surveillance or punishment alone. It survives because enough people choose to do the right thing even when they could benefit from doing the opposite. Kant never believed that human beings would become perfect. He understood too well how easily we are distracted by comfort, temptation, and self-interest. Yet he refused to accept that our weaknesses should define us. Every day presents small decisions that reveal the kind of person we are becoming. Whether we tell the truth when lying would be easier, whether we keep a promise when breaking it would be more convenient, whether we treat another person with dignity even when they have nothing to offer us in return. These choices often seem insignificant, but together they shape both our character and the society around us. That is why Kant believed the purpose of philosophy was never simply to explain the world. Its purpose was to help ordinary people live better lives. His message remains surprisingly modern because it asks a question that technology, wealth, and success can never answer for us. What kind of person do you want to be when no one is watching? Long after rules disappear and rewards lose their attraction, your character is the only thing that remains. Perhaps that is the deepest form of freedom and the truest measure of a life well lived.